Welcome, everybody. My name is Juan Estrada, and I thank you for joining tonight's District 5 United meeting. I'm president of District 5 United, which was founded about 9 years ago to provide a forum for topics in District 5. District 5 refers to San Jose Council District 5, and District 5 United strives to improve the quality of life in East San Jose and also citywide when necessary. What that means is that we join with others to advocate on behalf of citywide topics when necessary. Other times it's limited to East San Jose. Some of our accomplishments in the past are that we led the effort to save the golf course at Story and King that is primarily used by senior citizens and kids. We galvanized neighbors throughout San Jose, and we're successful in doing that. We also led the effort to save CAP grants. CAP grants were community action and pride grants provided to neighborhood associations in San Jose. At one point, there was talk of ending those. We successfully advocated, again, collaborated with neighborhood associations citywide, led the effort, and were successful. And now those became Beautify SJ grants. And so those are some of the things that we do. The main thing we do, however, is provide opportunities for residents to learn about important topics like tonight. And tonight, what we have on the agenda is first we have presentation information regarding the possibility of bringing a community college opportunity to East San Jose high school students. That will be followed by a forum for candidates for the Board of Trustees for Alum Rock Union School District. And then last on the agenda is a forum for Board of Trustees candidates for the Mount Pleasant Elementary School District. And so first on the agenda, let me point out, I appreciate everyone making the time. We were initially trying to schedule the meeting for the community college topic. We then, because of the importance, decided it was important that a forum be held for candidates in East San Jose. And I appreciate that everybody, all the candidates were very responsive in making sure that they could make time for this important event. And now I'll go ahead and explain that when Rolando first voiced the topic of community college opportunity for East San Jose high school students, I was very interested. I did attend community college before transferring to UC Santa Cruz. And so I definitely understand the opportunity that community colleges provide. And so really was interested in hearing more about this. I'll go ahead now and hand it off to Rolando.
First of all, let me begin by saying, Juan, thank you for providing me the space to have this conversation with community, and to all of you in attendance tonight. Thank you for being here. Tonight is an exciting night for me personally, because as many of you know, when I sought the position of planning commissioner for the city of San Jose, I ran on a platform of making sure East San Jose was at the table. And key among that conversation of being at the table was recognition that our side of the city is in dire need of investment. It's investment that we need today that's going to determine where we're going to be as a community within the next 20, 30 years. So when I went on this tour of talking to potential partners and opportunities, one of the groups that I connected with in the spring of this year was the San Jose Evergreen Community College District. I thought I was going to go in there and pitch and convince, and to my surprise, but not surprise because I know them, I realized that this was a district that made it very clear to me that they recognize that the East San Jose is not only a part of the city that needs investment, but it's a part of the city that they wanted to make that investment in. So for me personally, like Juan, I went to community college. My family, my wife, her sister went to community college. I grew up, like a lot of us, in the neighborhood. And for a lot of our friends and family members, although we've had success, that has not been the case for them. So for me, there's no better path for a long-term future of stability and sustainability and growth for a community and the families within that community than to provide access to education. And when we talk about access to education, we talk about that bridge from high school to college. And yes, the Eastside Union High School District has programs and is doing the best they can to make sure that as many of their students have the chance to go on to that next level. But fundamentally, they too, like a lot of us, are feeling economic pressures. So because of that, there was an understanding that by coming together and having a conversation about that investment, that perhaps this is a path forward that can not only help East San Jose, but that can also turn the economics around our community, ones where our sons and daughters and nieces and nephews can know with confidence that they can walk down the street and pursue their dreams. So for me personally, seeing what we're seeing, particularly now during COVID, we can't ignore the fact that East San Jose has been negatively impacted equally. We can't ignore the fact that East San Jose has been on the front lines of this fight of COVID. And if anything, what that fight has taught us is that a lot of us are ready, willing, and able. We just need that little help to get us over the top and give us that chance to pursue those dreams so that we can continue providing and supporting the city of San Jose. So with that, I'd like to hand the floor to Rosalie Ledesma, who represents the San Jose Evergreen Community College District, so she could talk about the concept and talk about why this is a good opportunity for our community.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rolando, Commissioner Bonilla, for reaching out to express your interest and also for your commitment for an Eastside College presence as well. Just want to say good evening to everyone. First, a big thank you to Juan Estrada and the entire District 5 United for the important work that you do. And also high five on your work to save Rancho del Pueblo, the golf course on King Story, because I come from a very big golf family. But thank you for inviting our district to talk about a college presence, not a college satellite, which I'll clarify in a bit, but and also a special shout out to our San Jose Evergreen Community College District trustees, who I believe are in the room, for their support of student success efforts. So I'll share a little bit about myself as well. Both my parents graduated from San Jose City College, and then they went on to earn additional degrees. And that really afforded my 3 siblings and I resources so that we could obtain bachelor and graduate degrees. And we've used those to conduct research and work in sectors that would really help advance the Latinx community. And then about 12 years ago, I believe that's right, I came to San Jose Evergreen Community College District to pay it forward, or to pay forward the free gift of education that San Jose City College gave to my family. So I'm absolutely committed, and I always put forth 1,000% effort in advancing the academic success of our community as not just part of my position, but also in my own personal time, just because that's how I was raised, and that was what was modeled for my siblings and I. So most of you in the webinar have already seen the news article that was published by San Jose Spotlight. So really my objective tonight is to just do a few things, and that's 1, clarify the term satellite, and also just to reiterate our intention, our district's intention of supporting and not supplanting what's happening in East San Jose high schools. Second is to contextualize the stats on Latinx underpreparedness, which was presented in the article. And then lastly, to share some more details about the idea of early college. And then of course, to answer questions from the audience. So I'll do that last. So first, going to the term of satellite and our intention of supporting high schools, I just wanted to share that our district, and I think it said that in the article as well, is in a very preliminary stage of exploring a partnership in East San Jose. But I want to qualify something that neither myself, our chancellor, other administrators, and I believe none of our trustees also have used the term satellite in any of our conversations, because that term satellite really connotes a brick and mortar physical building like we have in Milpitas, in the Milpitas community. And if such an opportunity presents itself at some point in the future, that would be fantastic, but it's not part of our plan. So I just wanted to make that really clear tonight. Then second, the high schools, which are governed by East San Jose Unified School District, including the charter schools, we know cannot do this important work alone, financially nor programmatically. So it's really our intention of exploring ways of investing our resources and working together so that we can make a significant impact on educational outcomes for students from East San Jose. We're not trying to, I want to clarify something, we're not trying to supplant what the high schools are doing. That's not our job, and it's definitely not our expertise. So it's really important that the work be done in a collaborative fashion and we execute it, in the best way possible. And it's also critical that we get moving on this work as soon as possible, because we're seeing the devastating and disproportionate impact to East San Jose in particular with the coronavirus. And what we're also seeing is an alarming number of students of ours across the nation that are having to reduce the number of college courses that they're taking. They're either completely foregoing this year of college or even having to decide that they're not going to pursue college in the near future. And though, their decisions, their family's decisions are not based on hard work ethic that's required or the family support that you need, for college that we all received, but it's really rather owed to the fact that more than 50% of these families have lost one or more sources of income, and they've had to place college on the back burner so they can alleviate some of those financial pressures. And that's absolutely heartbreaking. And then second, was the stats, yeah, stats. So on the stats for Latinx students that was reported in Spotlight, first of all, we're all aware, or we should be aware of the stats, okay? That's not news. But we all own those low rates. Our district owns those low rates. But we also own our students' future successes. So we, really need to just kind of get over ourselves and work together. That's what I want to convey, and really find time to support TK through college and career, regardless of who you are, regardless of where you work or live, whether you're a parent, a teacher, elected official, custodian. We all have an obligation to do better by these students. So my boss has asked me to convey that he is 100%, he's the chancellor of Sounds Evergreen, that he's 100% committed to this and looks forward to getting this work done sooner rather than later. And then also on the stats, I just wanted to clarify something that the stats I provided, I didn't communicate them in a vacuum. So I really couched those stats within the context of systemically racist structures that produce that underprepared high school students of color. That doesn't happen because families somehow don't value education. In fact, in national studies when they control for economic status, Latinx families voice a stronger support for college at higher rates than white students or white families do. And you can see that in the national trends, although that needs to improve for sure. Way back in, I think it was 2013, the national college enrollment rates saw Latinx students surpass the second highest college group, whites, for the first time. And then just locally, if you're not aware, Latinx students made headlines, I think it was in June or July, when they reported for the first time their acceptance numbers to University of California, Berkeley outpaced all other groups. But, so those were some great gains that we've made nationally and locally, but the pandemic really threatens to erase those recent gains, nationally and locally. And this is absolutely unacceptable. And really because of COVID, we must act now with more of a sense of urgency and, to be able to stem or stop that backward slide, and also to protect the future trajectory of enrollment, and also to identify models to emerge even stronger during the economic recovery and in the future. So, unfortunately, legal systems of racism and social constructs of racism almost make it a miracle for those who actually excel. And, college districts, because that's the space I'm in, are starting to kind of react to that now, but they're just starting to react to the structural racism kind of post George Floyd. And I'm really proud to say I work and represent a college district that has really long acknowledged racist structures as a fundamental reason behind underpreparedness and unequal treatment. And our district has provided financial resources for that extra support and attention, including for immigrant and undocumented communities. And as a district, our faculty, our staff, our administrators, the students, We have developed and executed on hundreds of innovative interventions and also support strategies that support underserved students. A couple recent ones that I want to point out is San Jose Promise, which enables students who graduate from a high school in San Jose to be able to attend one of our colleges, and it's at no cost. They cover the textbooks, fees, other resources. And also we provide culture-specific programs and resources to better serve students of color. And then more recently, and something that was reported on by San Jose Spotlight last month, was our district's innovative Parent Academy. And that came as a result of really you seeing the racist inequities that have happened or been exacted on parents and students in East San Jose once the elementary schools moved to an all online environment. So it's not that we are just now aware, right, that there are these educational inequities. Our students in East San Jose have faced those for decades, but now it's been really kind of amplified by the disproportionate impact of COVID. And so, we were looking at East San Jose initially, and that just kind of quickly moved into like a more urgent column, because of the coronavirus impact. And if you want to kind of learn more, I have this book I want to shout out to. If you want to learn more about the legal and systemic racism and the impact it has to families, I highly recommend this book. It's called The Color of Law. And it's a great book because it, explains and gives examples of the consequences of economic and social inequities that have been generated historically, but even more importantly, legally. So legally passed racist policies, for example, you couldn't give a loan to people of color, and banks could not finance families of colors to live in certain neighborhoods. They could only give you a loan to live in a marginalized community. So, and they also use Santa Clara data in that book. So that's one I highly recommend. So then you were saying, okay, well, we've got this situation. Well, what's kind of the solution, or what are some potential, considerations? And really, what I want to talk about, my last point, is a proven model that will address the low academic rates as well as college going and completion rates, and that's early college. So this is how early college works. It's essentially a college within a high school campus that's been proven to increase high school graduation, it improves college readiness, and it boosts the number of certificates like dental assisting, for example, and baccalaureate attainment. And so high school students get to start as early as 9th grade. They start taking college courses at their respective campus during the high school day. And there's no need for them to travel to a community college, which was the case before. And then by graduation, they can earn up to 2 years of college credit, which saves them and their families thousands of dollars and up to 2 years of time, all at no cost to the families. So from there, then they can immediately enter the job market, finish out their courses if they still have some to complete at the community college, or transfer to a 4-year institution and have 2 years of coursework completed. And one example I want to showcase is the Wonderful Academy. So Wonderful Academy is it's in Delano. It's a rural community, the Central Valley. And it really is like an excellent example, and it's a model of a partnership between several high schools and Bakersfield Community College District. And they've really produced some incredible results. So I just want to highlight a few of those because it's one that we visited and we researched, and we believe it's one that's a successful pathway for us to further consider. So audience members, you may not immediately recognize the Wonderful Company name. They produce things like, those little oranges called halos, pistachios, almonds, Fiji water, Wonderful pomegranate juice, other brands and products, a bunch of stuff. They have quite a few brands, and they built 2 schools, an elementary and a high school. And then they worked with several other high schools in partnership with Bakersfield Community College. And they built an early college program. So all of their, now it's working. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. I could not get my video to work. Why is this not working? Okay, well, they built these two they built an elementary school and a high school. And now all of their high school students have access to college courses on their respective campuses, which in 2018, their results at one of the high schools, 100% of the graduating class that attended college, or 100% of the graduating class attending college or a work fellowship, with 88% enrolled in a four-year university. And 1/3 of those students earned a 2-year Associate of Science degree while they were in high school. And then for the last class, the recent class of 2019, they saw 60% of their graduates going to a university with 2 years of college credit completed. So their results are phenomenal. I mean, you're talking about rural Central Valley. The students that attend those schools, it's almost 100% Latinx. But you know, we're in a different location, and actually I think at an advantage, because we have additional resources and technology that are available to us in Silicon Valley. And we also have, you know, a multitude of career technical programs like nursing, dental assisting, and we have apprenticeship programs and transfer options that our district would be able to provide East Side San Jose high school students, so that they have the courses that they need at the right time and in the right place, and at no cost. So our district will be redirecting resources and attention to East San Jose, because those are the students who need us most. You know, as I said earlier, especially now as part of the COVID response and recovery efforts. So it's finally, you know, kind of a call to action I want to make is that, you know, it's been very impressive to see so many of you in the Zoom room, Juan, Rolando, too, and other folks I've seen here who were really fortunate to attend college and be successful, and then be able to continue to live in San Jose and East San Jose in particular to help advance our community. And we need the same opportunities for, you know, thousands more students who will become, you know, teachers, business leaders, elected officials, inventors, all those different sectors and more. So I humbly ask for everyone's support and engagement to be part of a growing leadership, a collective leadership who will add to the ranks of organizations like District 5 United and be part of the overall East Side community leadership, you know, now and through college. And I'm sorry I cannot get my video to work. I don't understand why it's not working.
You know, Juan, if I could add to what Rosalie said really quickly, I think we are the largest city in the Bay Area, 10th largest city in the United States. We are a major metropolitan.
Oh, now I see it.
Other.
You had to tell me to start my video? Oh my God. Okay.
We can hear you.
Oh.
We can still hear you, but we can't see you. Oh,
Okay.
there you are.
There we go. There we go. Let me just add really quickly to Rosalie. We are the 10th largest city in the country, first largest city in the Bay Area. As large as we are, undoubtedly, we cannot truly be that metropolitan American city until every section of the city has equal access to resources and representation. To me, the access to a community college education is a basic right that, although, yes, it's true we've got San Jose City, and yes, it's true that we have Evergreen. If you don't have a car, if you don't have a way by which to transport, if you've got 2 or 3 jobs, that difference, that detail of having that community college offer courses in your community can be the difference between you breaking that chain or staying within that cycle, so that we're having this very conversation in 30 years. So I would like to thank the San Jose Evergreen Community College District for their willingness to make this investment, for their willingness to have a presence, because without a doubt, the fact that we're having this conversation in 2020 is structurally part of the problem that we need to help resolve here. Because again, if we're having this conversation in 30 years about the possibility of a community college presence, then we failed. And I know that we have folks considering running for boards who are devoting their time away from families because they believe They believe in everything good that our community has to offer. And we need to be able to support them as well at their school district level so that they have a place to point their kids in their community so that those kids can turn their dreams into a reality. So thank you for your time, Juan. Rosalie, thank you for your presentation. San Jose Evergreen, thank you for your commitment to make an investment in East San Jose.
All right, Rolando. I do see that we have a couple of questions. I will promote or convert those attendees, the panelists, in just a second. I'll just note that at the beginning I said I was very interested in this topic. I'm an immigrant, so heading straight to an expensive college wasn't an option for me. I'll reveal something I rarely do. I actually ended up dropping out of high school to work. I was fortunate to later earn a GED. Rolando, your comment reminded me of how challenging it was to get on the bus to get to community college. I did end up going to community college for a couple of years, was fortunate to get good grades and to get into UC Santa Cruz. I also have a junior in high school who this past summer took 2 courses at San Jose City College to get ahead. That was great. He wanted to do it. I fully embraced it, of course. And then I also have a niece who did community college, transferred to UCLA, graduated this past summer, is now working on her master's at UCLA. So it's definitely a great path for many students. So having heard about this possibility, learning more, I do certainly hope it's further explored. It's something I believe would be or could be as valuable to some high school students as it was for me. And so I definitely think it should be an option. Before I go to the 2 attendees who have a question, I know that we have Board of Trustees candidates here. This is not a forum question. I'm just wondering if, by show of hands, if you're willing to share your video and indicate whether this is something you believe you would support.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right, thank you. So now I'll go ahead and promote Peggy Cabrera to a panelist. If you'd rather not be on screen, let me know, Peggy. Peggy's question, let me see. This is always the tricky part. Let me go to attendees. Peggy. So Peggy, you can now share your audio and video. And Aaron, I'll go ahead and promote you to panelist and you would go after Peggy. Peggy, go ahead, you're still on mute.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to have this question make to Rosalie. My only concern about this project coming to East San Jose is always the fight that we have that, for example, in Allen Rock between union and no union, or between Allen Rock schools and charter schools. What role this new college, if it's coming to San Jose, will play between unions and non-unions or independent? That's my question.
Yeah, thanks for that question, Aaron. In terms of the union's role, I can't definitively speak on that because I'm not on the faculty side, but it's something that our faculty, because that's their purview, would be working with their faculty on any sort of curriculum development. And I would imagine that they would be very supportive and work together to develop the curricula so that it is afforded to students who are interested in this program. But to your point about the charter schools, are you talking about elementary schools or are you talking about high schools?
Oh, I'm sorry. I went ahead and converted him to an attendee.
That's okay.
We have additional questions.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you for that response. Peggy, you had a question?
I have 2. Thank you, Rosalie, for sharing this information. This is exciting news to hear. So the first question I asked was, you mentioned the Wonder Company. So my question is, how would this get paid for? Is it something coming from, the community college, from the city, the county? Would we need to find a tech company to do that, to underfund the cost of it? etc. And I'm just asking because you mentioned the Wonder Company. So it's like, well, okay, we need to find someone to do this who could do it. So my second question is, I thought about a student going through high school plus taking college curriculum is, who would oversee the student? Like, who's responsible to make sure that they would maintain progress through their high school curriculum as well as the college curriculum? Where would be the intersection of the community college and high school oversight for that?
Well, those are very, yeah, thank you. Those are very, very good questions. And that's kind of more at the granular level or the tactical side. I can answer it in a general sense in that the ultimately the high schools are responsible for ensuring the successful completion and the administering the program for the students, because they are going to get apportionment. They'll continue to get apportionment, meaning they get money from the state for their students. We don't get to get that apportionment because you can't double dip, it's illegal. But you know, so to your question about that, who kind of administers it? And then in terms of financing, you know, our district is incredibly supportive and interested in doing this, and is willing to channel resources that we already have in this direction to get it started. But we will need other partners. We will need other partners, you know, in the private sector. We'll need other partners in the legislature. We'll need other folks to be part of this concerted effort to provide something like early college and address the low rates that we're seeing in all of East San Jose. So it won't just be one particular person coming to the table, but if there's somebody wealthy out there that wants to join this effort, please give me a call on my personal cell number.
All right, we have a couple more questions and then we'll have to move on to the forum. Javier Campos, you can now share your audio and video. Betty Martinez, go ahead and share your audio and video if you'd like. Otherwise, I'll pose your question.
I'll share my audio. Rosalie, hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Say hi to your mom.
Thank you, good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm remembering the model of the 2+2 way back when, and we used to do some work with middle schools, and I'm wondering if there's any possibility or interest at this point for involving also or inviting the middle schools. Some of them, especially the kids in advanced placement courses, I think could handle it and are pretty ready.
Yeah, so regarding your question about middle schools, that's something that Wonderful Academy does. They actually built their own elementary and middle school. That's not something we're looking at doing right now, but we would start definitely at the high schools to implement the early college, because we already have dual enrollment courses in the high schools in East San Jose. And this would be an effort to expand that and create a concentrated effort, develop a program on a specific high school campus that has an early college program. But we would definitely, you know, be interested in talks and discussions around how do we engage the middle college, how do we engage the elementary and middle schools as well, because we all know by third grade that's where we begin to see the drop off in terms of academic success, and then it just continues to slide downward. So getting students at the earlier grades is always, you know, your ideal pathway for college, but you know that takes resources as well.
All right, thank you. And the last question, Javier Campos.
Yeah, I figured it out. It's real quick. First of all, thank you, Rosalie, for bringing this forward. And the question is, have you selected or proposed or even thinking about locations as of yet?
No. Why are you volunteering one? We're at, like I said, the very preliminary stages of this. So we do not have any sites selected. We've not, we've had some preliminary discussions, but nothing that to point in that direction at this time.
So perhaps one of the ideas could be approaching the Roberto Cruz, the university here, or the former university here on Story Road. They just built another annex about a year ago or 2 years ago. And that could bring a college atmosphere back to the vision that Dr. Cruz had initially. Just an idea.
Yeah, that's a good one, especially because there was already a college presence in East San Jose for what, like 33 years
Yes.
under NHU. And then once that went away and we became involved with them with their TRIO grants in 2014, and we transferred those over so that the community wouldn't lose TRIO grants. And then in 2017, we have some dual enrollment classes there as well. So, you know, that's one we would definitely consider, but there's not one that we have solidified or that we have any kinds of agreements on. We're just, again, in the preliminary stages and really just trying to move this, you know, sooner than later because of the impact that we're seeing
Right.
to the student. And if not now, when are we going to do it? Like Rolando said, we'll be here 30 years from now talking about, we should have, you know, are we going to start putting a college presence now in East San Jose?
Right.
You just look at the overall, you know, the disproportionate dollars that are spent in San Jose for East San Jose students versus Saratoga. So the state, because of property taxes, and that all goes back to the Color of Law book that I referenced, those students receive only $13,000 per pupil in East San Jose. And then you look at places like Saratoga and Mount Pleasant or Mountain View, and those students are receiving $24,000 per pupil on top of having tons of resources, parents who are home that can provide them with tutors and additional, you know, assistance and help to be successful. So it's, you know, it's definitely, you know, we've already had these, you know, divides and this inequity in place, and now we're just seeing it completely exposed and amplified by what's happening in COVID, and we have to act right now or we're going to lose these students forever.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rosalie and Rolando, for raising this topic, for taking the time to share information regarding this incredible opportunity. I hope it comes to fruition. I think most in the community would as well. And so thank you again.